We're going to see how a scientist in New York figures out what the environment looked like during the last ice age.
Wasn't it just ice?
We're in Westchester County. This is a county park in southern New York, and it's a generally poorly drained area. And we felt that it was probably a good place we could get a reasonably long core, at least going back to the last ice age.
What's he doing?
He's going to drill down into the ground and collect really old pollen.
What's pollen?
Microscopic grains that plants use to reproduce.
I'm learning as much as I can about what the environment was like back then, using all the data that I can get. Most of what I work with is pollen data. The sediment that accumulates at the bottom of a lake is very good for putting together a sequence of changes that have happened over time.
So what he means is that the farther down he drills, the farther back in time he goes.
Like traveling back in a time machine?
Sort of.
Yeah, it looks like we're in close to 14 feet. So we're definitely in the time of mastodons, maybe also mammoths. You can use swamps, you can use bogs, you can use lakes. Later stuff gets laid upon earlier stuff. So the deepest layers are the oldest layers.
What's that? I thought you said he's digging for pollen.
You'll see.
All right, I'm gonna take the sample here. This has the look about it's gonna be very rich in pollen.
It just looks like mud to me.
Oh, it's in there. You just can't see it yet.
The processing starts with a small subsample. We'll be dissolving a lot of the material that we don't want. Finally, you end up with a fairly small amount of sediment. Then it just goes on a compound microscope, and you just count, and you just keep counting until you've got a pretty large number.
A large number of what?
Pollen grains.
That's pollen.
Yeah, and he can tell the plants by the shape of the pollen grain.
Willow, another alder. There's a spruce that's in fine shape. Usually we take up to about 400 grains, and that we consider a complete count. And within those, you're going to find proportions of different species. So this is what a pollen diagram looks like. Along the top here,
Okay,
you'll see the
this gets
different
complicated,
species.
but basically all you need to know is that plants are up there and depth is over there.
And deeper is older, right?
Yeah, so after he counts the pollen grains, he knows which plants existed at each time period and which ones there were more of.
So today there's a lot of oak trees, but in the Ice Age there were a lot more pine and spruce. It wasn't just all ice.
Right.
So I'm standing here in New York City, in Central Park, and looking at another remnant of Pleistocene times.
Pleistocene?
That means the last great ice age.
This tree that's armored itself with these elaborate thorns. The thinking has been recently that maybe it's protecting itself against mastodons or possibly mammoths or even ground sloths, animals that would have been attracted to the nutritious pods here, these fruits that are full of a nice sweet paste.
How does he know it's sweet? Oh.
Slightly sour, mostly sweet. It's good.
Ugh.
If we look around us today, we still see shadows of that former world. I think we should be more aware of what we're doing and what we've done, and think in terms of a more deep time perspective on what our role in the world is and what ways we might remedy what we've been doing.